Today, we officially kick off the Nike NFL Eras Tour. All right, as soon as we run the intro, I am taking this thing off because it is cutting off circulation.
Hey, who's got it better than us?
Wait, hold on. Not that Eras Tour.
This Eras Tour. Guys, welcome back to Jersey Head University, the intersection of authentic sportswear and passionate storytelling. I just wanted to address the elephant in the room. If it's your first time here, consider supporting our channel by running the triple option, subscribing, liking, and commenting on today's video. Taylor Swift seems to have found a lot of success in her Eras Tour, so we're gonna do the same thing. I don't think we're gonna sell as many tickets as she did, but still gonna have a lot of fun. We're still gonna showcase a lot of cool jerseys.
Prior to the 2000s, the NFL was sort of the wild, wild west. It wasn't one company that had the outfitting rights to the entire league. Every team had their own supplier. You had Nike, Reebok, Adidas, Puma, and everybody in between. Teams were not limited to who they could sign with, and you saw all sorts of different logos on different teams. However, that all changed in 2001 when Reebok became the sole partner for the NFL. From 2001 to 2011, all teams across the league wore Reebok and only Reebok. However, that all changed in 2012. Following the expiration of the Reebok deal, the NFL kicked off a new era by teaming up with Nike. This wasn't just a business deal, it was a game changer. Nike brought its iconic swoosh and cutting-edge designs to the NFL, promising to redefine how fans and players alike experience the game. With a focus on innovation, performance, and style, Nike set out to create jerseys that were not only visually appealing, but also more comfortable and more durable than ever before. This partnership marked a bold new chapter in NFL history, blending tradition with modern flair and showing how a fresh perspective can breathe new life into one of the most beloved sports in America. Luckily for the NFL, they didn't have to look very far. While the NFL partnership with Nike began in 2012, the jerseys that would be introduced to the professional levels was already worn years before at the collegiate levels. In fact, the very first jersey that was worn by NFL teams, the Elite 51 jersey, was already well established in the collegiate ranks. It was being used as early as the late 2000s under the term Pro Combat, and eventually the Pro Combat jersey had some tweaks done to it, and it was eventually adapted into the Speed Machine jerseys, which is more or less the same as the Elite 51 jerseys worn in the NFL. Alright, first up, let's take a quick look at the game-issued version of the Elite 51/Speed Machine jersey. First thing you'll notice is this big old fly wire collar right here. According to Nike, this has some Kevlar materials and is meant to resist stretching. When you see the shoulder pads pop out of the jersey in the old uniforms, that's what they're trying to eliminate. Just like with Reebok, Nike did a year tag as well. On an old Reebok jersey, it would say 12-38 for the year 2012, and then 38 for the size. Sometimes, but not always. Reebok would also add an extra tag for certain cuts, but they weren't as consistent with Nike. So with Nike, all their jerseys will either say skill, line, hybrid, etc. Now with the old Reebok jerseys, you had this cloth equipment NFL patch. That's been replaced with this rubberized NFL shield. Looks much more slick than the previous jerseys. For the numbers, both the shoulder and the front and back numbers, you've got this stretch twill material, which will stretch with the fabric. On this jersey, the sleeve stripes are screen printed. One of my biggest pet peeves is when people say, everything's gotta be sewn or it's a fake. Guys, I can tell you with 100% certainty that is wrong. Screen printed and heat sealed graphics are very common even on player jerseys. Now for the body, we've got a mixture of different fabrics. The solid panels here is made of a Cordura fabric that will repel water, and that kind of leads to the sweatbox design. Let's do a quick demo of the water repellent feature. Look at that, guys. That water beads right off, and if you put a little bit onto the mesh, see that? It soaks right in. It is kind of a bummer that the NFL quietly did away with this feature. Honestly speaking, it was a little bit of a marketing gimmick, but it was still cool to have. And here we've got the back of the jersey. Very similar makeup to the front in that you have a mix of different panelings. In the upper back area, you've got Cordura fabric. On the upper back, you've got the mesh nameplate, and this whole panel here is also mesh. The mesh panels on the front, they dip into the back here a little bit, and then you've got Cordura on the side panels here, and then you've got mesh here. Just like the front, when water gets onto these panels, they'll soak into the mesh fabric. Here's a retail jersey just to show you guys the difference. The materials for the most part is very, very similar. You've got the fly wire collar here, the size tag. This one doesn't specify the year because it's not a player's jersey. And these are all the same cut. They're all kind of these loose fitting baggy jerseys. For this particular jersey, you've got the ram horns on the sleeves and shoulders. Paneling is also going to be very similar. You've got Cordura for the non-mesh areas, and then you've got mesh panels in the stomach and the armpit area. Just like the last jersey, this one is also going to repel water. So yeah, that water beads right onto the fabric, and when it goes into the mesh areas, you'll notice with this color, it darkens right away. And that's where the whole concept of the sweatbox comes from. One thing I forgot to mention is the manufacturing. For your retail authentics, they will be made in Honduras of US fabric. Compare that with the player's version, which is all going to be made in the US. One other thing that I've mentioned a few times already, depending on who the team is, their customizations will be different. So all three of these are licensed jerseys. Of course, two of them are retail, and one of them is player issued. You'll notice on this Brian Urlacher jersey, everything is also screen printed, heat pressed. That's because the team actually wears it this way. They're not going to deviate and make these sewn if the team doesn't wear it like that. Same with this Cowboys jersey. The printing here is thicker and it's a lot more durable than the retail jersey, but it's still printed. And of course, this Rams jersey, because the team actually wears it like this shoulder and sleeve panel is all sewn on. All right, now let's do a quick deep dive of the Hyper Cool jersey. We're using the Oregon Ducks because that's what we've got on hand. Right off the bat, you'll notice that it's very, very similar to the Elite 51 jerseys. You've got this big old fly wire collar, which has become the unifying feature of the Elite 51/Speed Machine jersey. But one thing that you'll notice is different. The Elite 51s do not have this chainmail mesh panel, while the Hyper Cool jersey does. And that's really the main difference, guys. Instead of having a mesh panel here, they go with this chainmail material, which is going to be much more prominent in the back, but you do see it on the front as well. If we move down, there's a little bit of it here, but it's mainly going to be on the back. Now the bottom is going to look the same as the Elite 51. You've got that mesh four-way stretch panel here, and you've got the Cordura fabric here for the side panels. Now the differences on the back is going to be much more noticeable. With the Elite 51, they use this mesh fabric for everything that's non-mesh. But with the Hypercool, you've got three different paneling. You've got this four-way stretch mesh material, you've got Cordura, but you've also got this chainmail mesh that's very prominent in the middle and upper back. You've got it here that separates these two panels, and of course the side of the back, and you've got it up here as well. This one does not have its nameplate, but if it did, they would use the same chainmail mesh and sew that onto the back of the jersey. A couple small minor differences, but overall, very similar jerseys.
And there we go, guys. That was the Elite 51/Speed Machine jersey. The first jersey the NFL wore under the Nike deal. It was cool, but it was also kind of gimmicky. Fortunately though, Nike did make some tweaks, and we got a much sleeker, much more streamlined jersey. But we'll talk about that next time.